The market doesn't seem to know what to do with itself this morning, and Tesla's kind of in the same boat. What's going on? This is Randy Kirk, and if you like this Monday morning news show where we talk about what you might have missed in the news over the weekend, then please hit like and subscribe and notify and all that jazz. And of course, looking for more folks to join Patreon. So let's jump into what is happening in the news this morning. Well, let's start with Tesla. The press continues to hammer on Elon stepping down on Tuesday. I mean, where did they, this started with the Wall Street Journal saying that maybe they would have conversations on Tuesday at the shareholders meeting, tomorrow, that is, conversations about what would the succession plan look like. Well, many companies have succession plans. Most, I suppose, major corporations have some kind of succession plan, but they're not usually public. They're usually something that is kept secret. But, the Wall Street Journal says that's going to be on the docket on Tuesday. It's going to be important, and that Zach Kirkhorn is the heir apparent and all this jazz. Well, then this turns into maybe Elon is going to step down there now. Or maybe he's going to be fired. I've seen this headline. Okay. Personally, I think it's all nonsense. I don't have any inside information to say it's nonsense, but the only information I have would be that this is a bunch of clickbait that folks are just trying to get their articles read. Anyway, we'll see what happens on Tuesday. The other thing that the press keeps hammering on is the million-piece recall in China. Well, you and I both know that million-piece recall is all about just an over-the-air update. They're recalling them in order to fix certain issues with regard to acceleration and braking, and it's an update over the air. Cars don't have to be returned or anything like that, but it's a great headline. Well, especially it's a great headline if you got GM actually having to recall 1 million cars due to airbag problems, where the airbag might catch on fire. That would be a fairly major recall. That headline hit, and after that headline hit, you saw the repeat of the Tesla million-piece recall over and over and over again in every media that you could possibly think of. So this continues. Then they continue to hammer on the whole Linda Yackaran, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, the new CEO at Twitter. How long will she last? Is she going to be able to handle Elon? Is Elon going to be able to handle her? Is this going to be a big, horrible, mess in terms of their ability to get along? Well, apparently they've been talking for quite a while. Apparently they kind of have already been able to feel each other out in terms of their personalities. I don't know anything about Linda. I have followed Elon for a very, very long time. He seems to like to have women at these major posts, like the chairman of Tesla, like the president or the COO of SpaceX, in these major roles. It seems to be kind of a direction he takes, is very strong women. So anyway, we'll see what happens with all that. But these are just the constant barrage of content that's coming out over the major media, which I think is suppressing Tesla stock right now to a certain extent. This morning it's been, up and down a little bit, not really finding a direction. We'll see what happens as the day progresses and as we get closer to the meeting tomorrow, where there could be announcements, and other folks are starting to talk about, potentially what I might call the most likely would be a gigafactory. The second most likely might be that they would actually roll out the new Highland version of the Model 3. The timing would be about right for that because people are talking about it being June or July. So this might be a good time to show it. All right, let's go on. Elon met with French President Emmanuel Macron. Of course, every country in the world practically would like to have Elon open a gigafactory or a mega factory in their territory. So apparently President Macron invited Elon to have a conversation, or maybe Elon said, hey, I'll be in France. But in any case, one more place that we can add to our list of maybes with regard to some kind of facility. But, these conversations are always ongoing. I don't think there's much to take away from that particular deal. Hertz has said that almost exactly half of its rentals from business travelers are now e-cars of one kind or another, electric cars, and major companies are turning to the electric vehicle rentals as a part of their broader plans to reduce their carbon footprint. It's a way that they can claim that they're doing what they're supposed to do. The result of that, you add that to the deal that Hertz has been making with the Uber and Lyft drivers. They've had tremendous success with that, extended people renting by the week or by the month. This is I owned a rental car business for a short time, and you love these people that rent them for a week or a month. Oh yeah, I also did, what do you call it, Turo, rented 2 of my cars on Turo, same thing. Somebody calls up and says they want to rent the car for 3 months. Yes, that's a good deal. So that is working very well for Hertz, to the extent that they now plan to have 25% of their 500,000 vehicle fleet electric by the end of 2024, up from currently 10%. So 2.5 times as many cars just to fill out that 25%. And then they would obviously have to continue to buy cars because you have turnover even on cars, these electric cars, which should last longer. There's still a point at which Hertz is always going to say, this is where we need to sell it. Will that now be typically on typical gas cars? They're usually trying to sell them in the 60 to 80,000 mile range. Will that increase with regard to electric cars? I have no idea, but they'll be looking at that and trying to decide what's the best point at which to sell the cars in order to get the best return on investment on the overall deal. So anyway, that's what Hertz is about. So that's obviously going to affect Tesla, because they're buying all the cars at this point are Tesla, Polestar, and General Motors. We'll see if they start adding some of the other brands in later, but that's where they are today. Outside of Elon Musk and the Tesla world, we have Warren Buffett continuing to dump BYD stock. Very surprising in a way, because they've made so much money on it. In fact, Electric Viking is reporting this morning that they've actually gotten their original investment back 5 times over on the stock that they have already sold. So they are really playing with house money. But Warren Buffett said, we don't want to compete with Elon Musk in a lot of things. We don't want that much failure. So there you go. Warren Buffett seems to have become a big fan of Elon recently. What about in general? We have the Fed speak. We've got 2 presidents already out on the trail. I told you all this week, every Fed president is going to be on the dais or on a panel or speaking in Congress. I mean, every one of them at least once. So all week we're going to be getting this kind of hit. I think this is why the market is kind of unhinged this morning, with the NASDAQ up and the Dow down. And then, you know, it's kind of still moving in different directions. So one of the Fed presidents this morning has already said, yeah, there's no way there's going to be any reductions in the interest rates later this year. And the other one saying, I still feel like we're probably going to need one more increase. I certainly I am going to be looking at that as a possibility, because we have to get back down to 2%. So we've got one hawkish statement. We've got one non-dovish statement. That's not something that the market wants to hear. So that is probably having an effect this morning on the market, because on the other side of the fence, we've got the president, Mr. Biden, saying that there is a good chance. He feels very optimistic about making a deal with the Republicans today with regard to the debt ceiling. So that would be something the market would be, yay, we've got that out of the way. Even though, as I've mentioned before in a couple of my shows, I don't see the debt ceiling really being an issue. They're not going to not do this deal. But you know, any risk you like to get off the table is a good thing. So I think that's about all there is out there. Oh, I know one more story. This is a great one. I love this one. Europe has too much gas, too much natural gas. They actually can't store it all. They have tankers sitting off the coast of Spain because the tankers are, the price is so low, the prices come down so low on natural gas in Europe that these tankers don't want to unload. They don't want to sell it right now. So you've got an overabundance of natural gas. This was certainly not what people were expecting a year ago. They got through a mild winter without having to completely go nuts. They've added massive amounts of solar, massive amounts of energy storage, huge amounts of wind storage just in the last 12 months, and tons of new projects coming online. Depending on what the summer looks like and what this next winter looks like and what happens with Ukraine and Russia, I'm beginning to think that maybe Europe is not going to suffer that much from the end of shipments of natural gas from Russia. So anyway, that's good news. And that's, I think, all I've got for you. You should look forward to some interviews coming up this week from Brian White, from Brian Wong. So I got lots of Brian's this week. Herbert Ong, maybe this week, maybe next week. Bunches of interviews coming up this week, as well as the continuing conversations that I have with you all the time. So hit notify so that you get notified of upcoming episodes, and then love to have you join Patreon. It's been great talking to you.